Welcome to an alternate past. Today's video is What if the Vikings permanently colonized America? Imagine a world where the Viking longships never left the shores of North America, where Norse settlements thrived and expanded across the continent. What if the Vikings permanently colonized America? What would this mean for the future of indigenous tribes, the European colonization, and modern society itself? When the Norse explorer Leif Erikson first set foot in Vinland around the year 1000, he encountered a land of vast resources and mysterious people. The early interactions between Vikings and Native Americans were brutal, as the Scandinavians saw the indigenous populations as both trading partners and threats. Imagine the bloody conflicts and alliances that could have arisen if the Viking settlements had grown into fully fledged colonies. The clash of cultures would be explosive, sparking wars that would alter the history of two continents. Consider how the presence of permanent Viking settlements would affect European expeditions to the New World. Christopher Columbus's journey in 1492 was spurred by the desire to find new trade routes and expand empires. If the Vikings had already marked their territory in the Americas, the competition between European powers for control over the new lands would be far fiercer. Picture the Spanish, French, English, and Norse armies battling for dominance on American soil, with all the brutality that came with medieval warfare. Additionally, the introduction of Norse technologies and practices to the indigenous cultures could fundamentally change the trajectory of Native American societies. The Vikings' iron tools, shipbuilding techniques, and military strategies would integrate with or dominate local ways of life. Envision Native American warriors wielding Viking swords, or longhouses standing next to traditional tribal dwellings. This fusion of cultures could create unique, hybrid societies that blend Norse and indigenous traditions. Religion would be another battlefield in this alternate history. The Norse brought with them a pantheon of gods and rituals steeped in violence and honor. The Christianization of Scandinavia had only just begun around the time of Leif Erikson's voyages. What if these Viking colonies became strongholds of Norse paganism in the New World? Imagine the religious conflicts between pagan Norse colonists and Christian missionaries who would inevitably follow. This collision of faiths could lead to centuries of religious warfare on American soil, shaping the spiritual landscape of the continent in unpredictable ways. Economically, a permanent Viking presence would shift trade dynamics fundamentally. The Norse were known for their vast trading networks that spanned from the Middle East to the icy shores of Greenland. Imagine the flow of goods between Europe and a Norse America. Furs, precious metals, and agricultural products could transform both economies. European settlers arriving later would find established trade routes and fortified cities, not the untamed wilderness they expected. This dynamic would accelerate technological advancements and competition, creating a race for dominance that could catapult the Americas into a rapid state of development. Politically, the presence of established Viking colonies would create new alliances and enmities. Different European nations might ally with or against the Norse based on their own imperial interests. Wars could be waged not just with indigenous tribes resisting colonization, but between European and Norse powers seeking to control this strategic new world. Consider the impact of treaties, betrayals, and military campaigns that would leave their mark on the geography and future nations of the continents. Climate and geography would also shape these settlements. The Vikings' knowledge of navigation and survival in harsh climates would prove advantageous in regions like present-day Canada, where their colonies could flourish. However, adapting to other diverse climates across the continent would present unique challenges. The Viking settlers would need to learn new agricultural techniques and hunting methods from the Native Americans, creating a mutual dependency that could either lead to cooperation or further conflict. Imagine the legacy of a Viking America in modern times. Scandinavian languages influencing place names and local dialects, Norse folklore blending with Native American myths, and perhaps even hybrid governing systems that fuse tribal councils with Norse-style assemblies. architectural styles would merge, creating cities unlike any we know today, with wooden stave churches standing side by side with totem poles and earthen mounds. As the years progress, these Viking colonies might even resist later European colonization efforts or form powerful coalitions. The new world map could look drastically different, with multiple Norse kingdoms or republics carving out their own territories, potentially leading to the creation of a Viking-style democracy that could challenge and shape the political landscape of North America. In terms of social development, the integration of Viking customs with indigenous cultures would lead to new societal structures. Practices such as the Viking Thing, an early form of democratic assembly, might merge with tribal governance, creating unique political entities that value both consensus and warrior ethos. Family structures, gender roles, and societal norms would evolve in ways that blur the lines between Norse and native traditions. Modern American culture might bear hallmarks of this Viking influence. Festivals celebrating Norse gods alongside indigenous spirits, cuisines that blend traditional Scandinavian and Native American ingredients, and a national identity forged in the crucible of this remarkable fusion. In conclusion, the permanent colonization of America by the Vikings could have drastically altered the course of history. The blending of Norse and indigenous cultures, the intensified European colonial rivalry, and the shift in economic and political dynamics would create a world unrecognizable from our own. This alternate history challenges us to imagine the complexities and consequences of such a profound divergence in our past.